Hello and welcome to Guuning to Old Trafford. This is your host, Ibi and Shady, obviously, and a very, very special guest all the way from Maputo, M.Shaahid Abdool. And when I say Maputo, not a Maputo boy, currently in Maputo, but a Roshni boy through and through. So, welcome to the show, M.Shaahid Abdool.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be here.
I'm M.Shaahid Abdool. And guys, yes, this is the first live, we're shooting. Ibrahim is back home, so as you guys can see, I'm happy, I'm smiling, and yeah, our much esteemed guest, Shaahid Abdool. I'm very excited, and yeah, I think you guys are gonna love this segment. I think Ibrahim, you can bring us in.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful segment, a segment which we've been enjoying. But Shaahid Abdool, it's all over to you, and Ibrahim will bring in the segment, and yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Abdool is so excited that I'm here that he's forgetting to tell you guys.
Hey, I forgot about that.
So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our content. And that's the way that you guys keep up to date with all of the happenings on our YouTube channel. And most importantly, hit that bell notification so that you know when new content drops. And I guarantee you, this is something that you don't want to miss. So today's one is something we've been toying around. It's a bit of a surprise, but it's about looking at getting a fan's perspective, outside Abdool and myself, around their all-time 11, just to see how other fans look at Manchester United and Arsenal, or maybe their particular teams that they support, as well as, overall from a Premier League perspective. Because I think, we can all agree we grew up in the best era of the Premier League, seeing some of the quality that was on show. So it would be good to do that. So today's segment, it's all about Shaahid Abdool, his top 11 that he grew up with from a Manchester United perspective, as well as overall from a Premier League 11 perspective. So, Shaahid, before we jump into that, I made a bit of a statement that, we grew up in the golden era of the Premier League. Do you agree with that, or do you see the current crop of players more suited or more, equipped to be that type of, that legends in a few years' time?
Yeah, I definitely think we grew up in the golden era. The 90s and the 2000s was it was the launch of the Premier League. So it was either going to fail, the concept, or it was going to succeed. And that's why we grew up in that era, because the players from all clubs, big and small, that stood up to say, no, this is the Premier League. This is competitive English football. Yeah. The reason all these good players around the world now want to play in the Premier League is because of the hard work these guys put in
100%.
to make the league what it is. And so whether it was playing Wimbledon on a Wednesday night away and getting your ankles knocked out by some of their players, that's what made the Premier League alive compared to the other leagues in Europe and around the world, And so I think there's like a homage of respect to the 90s and the 2000s. Mm-hmm. I think the 2010s refined football and changed it.
Yeah.
And now we live in a new era. But that's what it is. Every era, new teams rise up, new players come. But I think we did live in the golden era. And I think we're still living in that era. Although it's defined a little bit differently now. It's a new dynasty in town. But still, I still think it was the best era to grow up in the
Just
90s.
to add there, Shaahid Abdool mentioned like Wimbledon on a Wednesday night. Can you guys remember a Stoke City on a Wednesday night? Rory the left throwing those long throws, and yes, that was amazing. So guys, please, all the younger guys, this was the golden era. Get onto YouTube, go and check out all these games. And today we've got the Premier League Top 11 by Shaahid Abdool. I'm very excited about this, and
Okay, so how we gonna go on? We're gonna start off from the back, and we're gonna go with a standard 4-4-2.
4-4-2, yes.
I think that's the formation we grew up with.
Yeah.
None of this inverted wingers, and we grew up with a standard 4-4-2. your two out and out strikers, blah blah blah.
Before you know it, in the future, basically the formation is just going to be 10 players standing in a
straight line.
True, yeah.
and then there'll be people who move, and the arrows will say, no, these ones will come back in
And
transition, and these
exactly.
ones will move forward. Basically, that's
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So, guys, if you guys don't know, again, we've got the black book that marks down and gives us all the insight and stores all of our information. So, while M.Shaahid Abdool is talking, we're going to be noting it down. And
let's get into it.
Okay.
So we'll start off at the back, and we're going to do two, right? All-time Premier League 11 and the all-time Manchester United 11 for Shaahid. If you don't know, and you can see, proud Manchester United fan.
Yeah.
Grew up as a Manchester United fan, so not, just recently. So it'll be good to get his view on that.
you
So-
can't find recent United fans.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
The youngsters
It's very
nowadays
difficult.
are all City or Liverpool fans.
It's-
right?
yeah.
Disheartening.
Yeah.
But anyways, we hope that changes.
All the Chelsea supporters became City
City
supporters. now.
supporters, yeah. So Shaahid, we're going to start off with the Premier League 11.
Okay.
And we're
Should we
going to jump.
not do the United level maybe first?
Okay, happy to do
I
that.
think
So
I'm
Shaahid
okay.
wants to mix it up a
Yeah.
bit. Let's
United
do the
11, here
Yeah.
we go. I'm so
United
excited.
11. Let's United 11.
United 11.
So Shaahid, we go to the back,
Yeah.
and we'll start off with the keeper.
Yeah.
Three legendary keepers pop to mind. We've obviously got the Great Dane, Peter
Yeah.
Schmeichel, Edwin van der Sar,
Yeah.
David De Gea,
Yeah.
and not forgetting a certain Gary Bailey. We grew up watching Gary Bailey on Super Sport. And I said three, but I mentioned four. Any surprises from you on that?
No surprises. As expected, Peter Schmeichel.
Peter Schmeichel. Love it.
Has to be Peter Schmeichel for various reasons. I think Edwin van der Sar for a close second. Because, Van der Sar's signing really changed United. I think Ferguson was so spot on with that. Because the goalkeeping crisis at United was bad.
Oh, we had some terrible keepers.
Terrible.
Not terrible,
Mark
but I mean,
Bosnich, Manuel Taibi. Barthez was
Barthez,
good
yeah.
for a
France.
season
And for
or
France,
two and for France. But really he was a bit flaky. Ben Foster. And then what was Tim Howard, the American.
Yes.
So I think the Van der Sar signing changed. De Gea, of course, in his own right. But we know he's also been plagued by his form. And also, the four in front of him for the past 7 seasons have not been consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've seen him at his best and his worst. And unfortunately, he wouldn't be a top choice. So it would have to be Van der Sar or Schmeichel. But of course, given the
Great game.
dynamics, I mean, even from a Premier League perspective, look, I can give you the answer now for Premier League 11 as well. It's Peter Schmeichel.
Peter
Yeah.
Schmeichel, 100%.
Peter
Any
Schmeichel,
one
definitely.
moment that stands out?
For Peter Schmeichel.
The cartwheel?
No, it would be semi-final against Arsenal, the FA Cup, the penalty save.
Oh, yes.
Against Dennis Bergkamp.
Oh,
Dennis
yes.
Bergkamp.
Yeah.
Everybody put
Like-
their money on Burke and putting that away,
Yeah.
right?
Generally, we all grew up hating Phil Neville for some reason.
Yeah,
But
there was
that
something
particular
about
penalty he got was
Yeah,
like,
I swear.
I wish I could strangle this guy and ring him. By the way, it's just a joke. No, I know we're on the internet. But I'm saying, and then Schmeichel saved the penalty.
Yeah, brilliant.
And that was the biggest
And the
moment
rest
in
was
the
history. Yeah, exactly.
actually, if you
I
put it
turn
in
things
context, the treble chase was that penalty because it
100%.
kick-started
That defined
everything.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So brilliant. So Peter Schmeichel in the back. No surprises, I would say.
No surprises.
We're going to do this as a pairing because I always say that you can't do a centre back as individuals.
Yeah.
You need to be a pairing, right? Whether you want to choose two centre backs out of different eras, it's
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
but I like to bring them together, right?
Okay.
So your two centre backs in this flat 4-4-2.
Okay.
I mean, we spoiled for choice again.
Yeah.
Obviously, not the current crop of players.
None of them.
Head tip to Harry Maguire when I say that. But we've got a lot of, as United fans growing up in this golden era, we spoiled for choice, right? So that centre back pairing, you've got Bruce, you can choose from Pallister, there was Jaap Stam, we had Ferdinand Vidic, etc. So I'm going to hand over to you, give us that centre back pairing and why the pairing, right?
Okay.
It doesn't need to be players that played at the same time,
Yeah.
but why would you pair those two together?
Okay, so my first one would be, of course, Vidic.
Nemanja Vidic.
Nemanja Vidic. And
Beautiful.
sometimes you need a player that can strike fear into the heart of footballers, and Vidic was that. Also a very good leader.
Yeah.
Clinical, tough, hard, suited the Premier League perfectly.
Serbian.
Cold as ice.
Yeah.
Ferguson also good tactical signing. No one knew who he was.
Him and Evra came in together.
Yes, they didn't know who they were, but he became something of a legend at United.
And I don't know if you remember, but when they were signed, I'm not sure if it was Dirk Kuyt that actually ran them in the, or was it Luis Suarez? On their debut, when Vidic and Evra made their debut, they were rinsed against Liverpool.
Sure.
And everyone thought these guys are going to be failures, because it was January signings, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And everyone thought they were going to be failures, but they grew to be
Exactly.
Manchester United.
Exactly, yeah.
Both
Both of them.
He strike fear in all of the opposition.
Exactly. So you want to go to a match knowing that Vidic is there at the centre back at the one position. The second one, so this is going to be a controversial choice.
You like controversy.
I personally believe that Rio Ferdinand's success as a defender was largely due to Nemanja Vidic playing alongside him.
Oh, Rio Ferdinand.
And this is not,
if you are watching Rio, which you're not probably, this is on him, right?
This is not a
I
jibe.
had you in my all-time.
Yeah, you actually did.
This is not a jibe against Rio. But the issue is, I feel that I've seen, and maybe not because Man United won so much and so constantly, I've over the years picked up flaws in Rio Ferdinand's defending that have been exposed, and sometimes we don't understand because he's had people like Vidic that cleared him up. Even the younger defenders at the time that sometimes partnered him, Wes Brown, John O'Shea, they weren't the best players.
Gerard Piqué.
Yes.
They were not the best of players, but they were good at cleaning up sometimes, especially on the second ball.
Yeah.
And I think, so I wouldn't go for Ferdinand, but I must go for a certain Dutchman by the name of Jaap Stam. Because
I actually went for Jaap Stam when we did the
Combined 11.
The combined 11. I love Jaap Stam.
And so I believe if you have Jaap Stam and Vidic at the
hard
back,
hitters, man. And both were pace, right? Because Stam
both
had
were
pace.
pace, yeah.
And he didn't look like he had pace,
No,
but he was
awesome.
a quick
He was
unit.
awesome.
Okay, so
Erling Haaland, if you had to play against a Jaap Stam Vidic centre back pairing,
you wouldn't be scoring the way you score now, yeah?
you would have gone off in the 13th minute.
That's true.
You would have gone off in the 13th minute.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
they let you
definitely.
know you're playing against them,
Yeah.
yeah? Okay, good. So, I mean, we're moving
I like
quite
it,
swiftly.
That spine is
So,
beautiful.
and look at the leaders, right? We've got Peter Schmeichel, the great Dane at the back. Vidic and Stam. I mean, no one would mess with that
What a
back three, right? I mean,
foundation.
what a foundation. That's the start of your spine, right? Which is really important. We're going to try to move this quickly. Right back, left back.
Okay.
So give
Left-
us both your choices.
left-
You can start at left and
Left
move
for
over
me,
to right.
so it's always a toss-up between Dennis Irwin.
Not for never.
I'll never. Maybe in my Everton all-time 11. But it would definitely be Dennis Irwin or Patrice Evra. But for this one, I have to give it to Dennis Irwin.
Oh, yes.
Classic.
Number one, classy left back.
Classy.
Hard-working, no nonsense.
Goal scoring left.
Goal scoring,
Yeah.
and was the designated penalty taker for 5
Exactly.
years and never missed one. And the one he did miss, he scored the rebound.
Exactly.
So you want someone with cool, calm, collective nerves, and also Irish.
Yes.
Many people forget this is Republic of Ireland international. He was a very, very good. He even captained Ireland at some stage
He
as
was
well.
brilliant, right?
Before Roy Keane, which was a surprise to many. So I definitely Dennis Owen on right back, left back, right back.
And the nice thing about Irwin,
Yeah.
he could be inverted, right?
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
needed him, he could
would
switch over to the right.
Yeah.
Correct.
He was
Yeah,
a really versatile player.
very
Yeah.
good.
Could take
Both
penalties, free kicks,
Yeah.
do long throws, and corners as well. So you have someone that can do a bit of everything. Also very, very quiet player, did his job.
Exactly.
And sometimes
No
you
nonsense.
need a player like that just does his job. Every game, he gives you a 7.8 to an 8.5.
100%.
Every
That's what you
game.
need,
And
consistency.
that's what you need, Right back, unfortunately, you know what? I think United over the years, the only right back that comes to memory, of course, is Gary Neville. And the reason is because we've actually never really replaced Gary Neville at right back because we've been through so many.
Yeah.
And that's why I was an advocate that United should have signed a very strong right back in this transfer window, to give that team. I'm not saying
impetus.
Diego Dallo is not good.
So good understudy,
he's
but not a
good
starting
No,
11.
not a starting 11. AWB, I don't think
his days
is
are numbered
cut
at
for
United,
United.
yeah.
The ones before, Fabio Rafael, yes, understudies, good for cup games, good for Champions League away games, or a game against a Liverpool or Man City in the week where you want to just change things up, but a consistent one. So unfortunately, because of a lack of choice, it has to be Gary Neville.
So Gary Neville, you just being vetoed in.
Yeah,
because
by default. By default.
By default. So
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to
Exactly.
waste too much time.
Yeah.
on
Okay,
it, right?
just quick one. Just looking at this, the defense and the goalkeeper just shows how awesome and how vast of knowledge Sir Alex Ferguson had.
Yeah.
I mean, you just said now we didn't know about Vidic. I mean, Stam was a beautiful signing as well. So, Sir Alex Ferguson, hats off to you. This was brilliant.
Yeah.
In Owen.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
What a player.
So yeah, I think we can go into the midfield.
Yeah, we're going to the
Centre
midfield.
midfield.
Oh,
We'll
spoil
start
for
off-
choice
spoil
again.
for choice. I mean, when you talk about the all-time United 11s, you always spoil for choice, right?
Yeah. And that could also be
I mean,
controversial.
and
the
also
last time.
you could be picking players from the current crop of players.
Yeah.
Because remember, our all-time United 11 is not limited
Yeah.
to the past players,
players, yeah.
but it just shows the quality difference between the or the older United players versus the current crop of United players. I think the only one for me in the current squad that could potentially put their hand up would be a Bruno Fernandes or a Christian Eriksen. Other than that, I don't see any player now being able to really fight their way into our all-time
No,
United.
not what
11,
we,
you know?
not what
we used to.
United had.
But anyways, enough from me.
Yeah.
That's all about Shaahid Abdool. Shaahid, your centre midfield pairing. Again,
Yeah, of course, there has to be a pairing.
similar to their defence, your midfield pairing really needs to
Exactly.
be spot on. Let us give us your thoughts on this.
So for me, it's a very, very simple choice for the first one, because he'll also be the captain of the team. It will be Roy Keane.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
Has to be. So you
I think
can't.
Roy would walk into the current United
Yeah,
team, right?
yeah. Actually, they should actually bring him down from the commentary box at Sky and give him
Yeah.
his shirt back, and
They
then
call
maybe
him the mayor of Manchester. How was that match with
Oh, did you see he made a surprise appearance at the Legends game last
Yeah.
weekend?
Yeah, oh, they were going
United
crazy.
Liverpool
They
versus
were going
Manchester
crazy.
United, and he came on. It was amazing to
Yeah.
see him in United kit. Yeah.
So,
So Roy Keane, I mean,
Roy
that one
Keane,
was no
obvious.
surprises. Yeah.
captain as well.
Captain,
He would
fantastic.
captain my team
Yeah.
as well if I had to
Done.
have him. Definitely Roy Keane. And then next to him, of course, will be Paul Scholes, the
Oh, yes.
greatest midfielder in Premier League history, in my opinion.
Agreed. Okay.
I think in a lot of people's opinion.
Yeah, I
know
know.
he gets mixed up with Lampard and
No,
Gerrard.
there's really
Nah,
no
I
comparison.
don't think you could
comparison,
compare,
man.
There's
man.
no
I don't know,
comparison.
man.
I
And
think
also,
those are just biased fans.
but can people need to understand this? Scholes went toe to toe with Gerrard and Lampard in their prime when he was at the tail end of his career.
Exactly.
How
On
would
the
you
decline.
So
how
true,
would
eh?
you match him in age for age in the same
his
era?
prime.
Because when Scholes was in his late 20s, early 30s, twilight career, versus Lampard, Gerrard in their prime,
Exactly.
in their mid prime, 24 to 27, and he still went toe to toe with them, even won more titles.
Outshone them.
Scored more, not all the goals, but he scored goals, made assists,
Assists.
made the team tick. Alex Ferguson brought him out of retirement to win the Premier League again.
And at the expense of a certain Paul Pogba, right?
Yes.
That's why Pogba left United, and
Yeah.
I mean his second spell wasn't anything to shout about. And I think people get mixed up. You know, we're in an era of stats, right? So people get mixed up with his goal assist ratio, right? And Scholes, yes, he might have not clocked a lot of goals and a lot of assists, but he was the glue to that United
Exactly.
play.
Oh, of course.
100%.
Right?
He was like, I remember the Christian Eriksen, a similar quarterback, pushing the ball into
Yes.
different
Yeah,
channels.
exactly.
And, you know,
He wasn't
so-
the final pass, but he was definitely
was.
someone involved in the build-up, right?
Yeah.
And I think that made a difference.
There's very few players in the world like Paul Scholes. The closest comparisons come to people like Andrea Pirlo, which I like.
True that.
Andres Iniesta,
Yes.
Xavi.
Yes.
I would even argue that the Lampard and the Gerrard were not a Scholes position.
Yeah.
No, they were more box to
Yes.
box. And
Scholes was a very, very
these
different
were,
player.
I mean, operators
Yeah,
in the center of the
exactly, yeah.
park.
And that's why England made a massive mistake when they shoehorned him out to the left,
Left,
right, to
yeah.
make
Yeah,
space for Gerrard
For
and
Gerrard,
Lampard.
yeah.
It was weird. And I mean, the memory that comes to mind for Scholes, and there's countless memories, but that goal against Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final,
2008.
2008, when we obviously went on to win it, but he cracks it, man. And you know, there's a camera angle where Messi is looking at the
Yeah.
ball, front row seats, and the ball going in top corner. You know,
Yes.
yeah, it was amazing.
Brilliant, brilliant.
So yeah, I mean, strong midfield. right mid, left mid.
So-
I mean, like I said, we're going for a stand
Yeah.
4 foot.
So on the right wing for me, it would definitely be first spell Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Because he was a right winger at the time, not a forward. So he'll definitely be on my right. And on my left, I'm going to shun a certain Welshman
Oh,
Yeah.
in favor of another Irish legend in terms of another Welsh legend in the form of George Best on the left.
oh yes.
Oh man.
So
Oh,
if you have
Best
Besties.
if you have
Irish.
George Best, no, he's Welsh.
Northern Ireland.
No, he's well. No, yes,
Northern
Nor-
Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland, yeah.
Sorry.
Madam Reddy, I didn't get it wrong, Madam Reddy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
on him, but George Best, Northern Ireland.
George Best on the left and Ronaldo on the right.
Oh, what a
In both of
combination.
them in their primes, if you just think of it from that
This
perspective.
is a good team so far.
I'm also trying to get balance here. I think balance,
Balance
is
is
so
a good
useful.
key.
team,
Balance
yeah.
is key.
Because I don't think, you see,
But I mean, that means Beckham misses out.
Yeah.
No.
Giggs misses out. I mean, those are.
Can I
But
make an
again,
assessment?
this is about Shaahid.
Wait,
yeah.
wait. Can I just say something? I'm not saying David Beckham couldn't run. But if you want to play a running football game,
It wasn't, yeah.
do you have ball carriers like Bess and Ronaldo, Ronaldo in his 20s, running down with the ball? Or do you have a Beckham running and crossing? In a modern format
No,
of
of course.
football,
Modern
where
format,
running
you
with
need
the
a
ball,
runner,
yeah.
right?
You know,
And I think
and
George
I
Best
know,
carried it, bro.
yeah, and I know this is a controversial word because it's a rugby term, but footballers now are ball carriers. You
Yeah,
have ball
true,
carriers now who carry the ball for you.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes can be
He's a
is
carrier.
arguably as a carrier, you know. So
I mean, Kevin De Bruyne, right?
Kevin De
From
Bruyne is a
City,
ball carrier.
Ball carrier.
Ball carrier,
Odegaard
quarterback.
from Arsenal.
Odegaard from
Exactly.
Arsenal.
These are all ball carriers, people who can move the ball, and to get people who can move the ball on the wing and cut in and score.
It's amazing.
And then also the
And good on both feet, right? Right and left. On both players.
yeah, and the flair of George Best. Can you imagine Ronaldo and Best trying to compete for flair on either wings in the
Crazy,
same match?
man.
With the Roy Keane and Paul Scholes in
Crazy.
the middle. Woo!
Yeah.
This is
I
like
mean-
a total different dimension.
What a team. man.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so I mean, just to recap,
Yeah.
Peter Schmeichel in the back, in the poles.
Gary Neville.
We've got Gary Neville on the right, Jaap Stam and Nemanja Vidic as your centre back
Dennis
pairing.
Owen.
Dennis Owen, captain fantastic, but not a captain
Yeah.
in this team.
Vice captain.
Vice
Definitely
captain,
Dennis
captain.
Owen, who carried the team, for many years. George Best in front of him. Owen and Best, oh my God. Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, and Keane. I think Keane had the personality to manage all of these
Yeah.
guys.
No,
right?
I'm sure- yes,
including
yes,
a George
yes,
Best, right?
Including a George
Yeah,
Best.
Also, if you look at Vidic and
Especially a George Best.
Especially-
You need an
especially.
Irishman to
yes,
handle
to handle
someone
an
like Best.
Irishman, yeah, 100%.
Oh,
So,
a Northern
yeah.
Irishman wouldn't be happy that you said an Irishman is an Irishman. Huh?
Oy.
Let's make distinctions here, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so you need
it's
a,
important. It's important.
you need an Irishman to teach a Northern Irishman.
But
how
what
to
these
These
do
guys
it.
are being controversial now, but
This
you
is
know,
like
let's
the
leave
Boondock
that.
Saints, you know what I mean?
And then out to the right, we have a certain Cristiano Ronaldo, which is
yes.
totally deserved,
Yeah.
right? Up front,
Oh, spoiled for choice.
I mean,
Point
again, right?
for
We've
choice.
got players like Mark Hughes.
Hmm.
We've got players like I mean, if we start from the back, right? I mean, if we go back in the
Yeah.
years, right? A certain Duncan Edwards. Obviously, talent not realized because of the tragedy of the Munich
Busby.
crash in '58,
Yeah.
the Busby Babes. But we've got players like Duncan Edwards. We then move into Sir Bobby Charlton, who could easily, make it into anybody's team up front. Going into the early era of Sir Alex, a certain Mark Hughes, Sparky, up front.
Brian McClare.
Brian McClare, driving into Colin York.
York.
Oh, that was
Eric Cantona.
glory days, eh?
Then going into Wayne Rooney, Carlos Tevez, Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Roy.
I mean, I can keep talking,
Let me
right? So,
do this, Robin van
luckily,
Persie.
Robin van
Persie.
Persie. Oh, Robin van Persie. I'm not going to, luckily, I don't need to make the choice.
Yeah.
I'm going to hand over to Shaahid. Shaahid,
Let's
who's
go.
your
So
pairing up front?
The first one is the king himself, Eric
Oh,
Cantona.
yes.
You can't have a
Nice.
United 11 without Eric.
Baba boom.
You
So
need-
then you're going to struggle now.
You need pizzazz
Yes.
up
yes.
front. You need someone who's going to can not only score goals, create,
I
but
mean, in
create
honor of-
something out of nothing.
In honor of the king,
Turn
Oh,
up the
there we
collar.
go.
we'll just pop the collar, yeah? In honor of the king.
Eric Cantona.
Nice one.
Eric Cantona could turn something out of nothing.
Yes.
100%.
He could be in the most awkward
Agreed.
positions, surrounded by two players, and all of a sudden, one flick and the ball is gone to Mark Hughes or someone, and they're already running on the box, and then he's just standing there and he's like waiting for the goal to happen.
It's beautiful.
You
And
know?
that arrogance,
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
but deserved arrogance.
It deserved
I think
arrogance.
that's what it is. So who would partner? And again, I think Roy Keane managing a personality like Eric Cantona,
I think you do
perfect.
well.
Perfect,
Perfect.
Also, they played together.
Funny story on Eric Cantona, and Roy Keane actually said this. He said that Sir Alex was really strict around dress code. So they went out for a team dinner, and all of the players were told, you need to come in your Manchester United regalia, your club suit, blah, blah, blah. They all rocked up in the club suits, except Eric Cantona. Jeans, t-shirt, stylish. Ferguson said nothing. So afterwards, Keane went to him, so like, what's the situation? Everybody, it's like, Eric does what Eric does. We allow him to do what he wants. He does what we need him to do on the pitch. And that was Ferguson's main management. He knew who he could push and who he needed to give that space.
Exactly.
Similar to a certain Cristiano Ronaldo,
True that.
So who would pay?
So between us, this in my head, even from when we mentioned it, I was sitting on the couch, was my most difficult decision. So this entire team, the 10 so far, is just like that.
Yeah.
But this decision, because honestly, I wished Ibrahim told me, I could do 4-5-1.
Okay.
Because it didn't make life easier.
much easier.
But I'm sticking to the classic 4-4-2. So in my head, my final toss-up was between two people, which is the club's leading goal scorer, Wayne Rooney, and Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Ooh, what a choice to make, man.
I had to overlook York and Cole, Solskjaer, Teddy Sheringham, Carlos Tevez, Robin van Persie.
Oh, Robin van Persie.
A certain Eric Larson. What's his name? Eric Larson, who came to United.
Henrik Larsson.
We said we were going to
9
actually
goals.
do something for Henrik Larsson.
9 goals that won us the Premier League.
Of course.
Yes.
And he came in at a really tough time, right?
January, we
Ferguson
had
was
no
under
strikers.
pressure.
Did he
Yes.
come from Barcelona?
Yes.
Because he came from
Barcelona
Swedish,
on loan.
On loan, yes.
Henrik Larsson.
Henrik Larsson.
So you had all these players. Do you know, and I just realized this other day, do you know that Dion Dublin in his prime signed for United?
What a class player. But he
And
had
got injured.
he injury and
then it messed up
marred
his
his
whole-
own time. But
his
Dion
whole-
Dublin, class Manchester United
Yeah, no,
striker.
top.
So it was really, really a tough choice. But at the end of the day, I think this one, what influenced me more, you see, a lot of my choices were based on not on statistics as well as football ability. So I had to give, even though I love Van Nistelrooy and what he did, but I don't think he could even match Rooney's record.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
trophies, goals and statistics, and the type of goals that Rooney scored, the joy he gave. And I know he's also been a controversial character on and off the pitch, but it had to be, I would have Rooney lead the attack and Eric just pop in behind him.
Oh, yes.
That's how I would say
Rooney,
just in front and Eric playing off. Yeah, so that's who it
Good
would
one,
be.
Rooney.
Yeah.
I mean, what a
Wow,
team, man.
man.
And I mean,
Wow.
just, Rooney again, to choose one memory would be criminal, right?
Yeah.
But for me, there's two that really stand out. And I don't know if you'll agree with these, but Champions League debut against Fenerbahce. Hat-trick. A young Wayne Rooney going to a Ryan Giggs and telling him, listen, I'm taking the free kick.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Not stepping back, not scared to take on that guy. And that goal against Newcastle, man. He's arguing and he's angry. And next minute, he's arguing with the ref, right? And then next minute, he turns around, looks at the ball and bang. Top corner, last game of the season. Or second last game of the season, I think it was. And
for me, it was
what a goal.
It was the Manchester Derby overhead kick.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Oh, yes. What a goal.
It was like, that is what
summed up who Rooney
that
was.
was summed up who Rooney was. And for my coach for the team, it would have to be David Moyes.
David
Moyes.
Sorry, that's a joke. We all know who's the coach.
Can only be one.
No, I
It's
mean, it could
Alex,
be a
of course.
toss-up, right? I mean, we've got two legendary coaches.
Busby.
Sir Matt Busby and
Okay.
Sir Alex. But I think Sir Alex,
No, definitely Sir
for
Alex.
what he's done, he took what Busby did and he really elevated it, through. And what I loved about Sir Alex Ferguson, and you struggle to see that in leadership nowadays, is adapting through the different eras, understanding the different type of players you need for the different eras, and getting it spot on right through his retirement.
Exactly.
You know, there was a quick. I just need to mention this. Gary Neville was speaking about. I think it was the Champions League which United won, and that morning he actually forgot something. Okay, the morning after they won the Champions League, he went into Carrington, and he says at about 5:30 in the morning he went in because he forgot something, his card or whatever it is, and he says 5:30 in the morning. That small little light, the office light of Sir Alex Ferguson, was on. And you know what? He was burning the midnight oil. And remember, they just won the Champions League the night before. So, I mean, these were charismatic. These guys were a legend. They were giants.
Yeah.
So, do you know that there's a course being taught in management at Harvard that basically studies Sir Alex Ferguson's management?
Wow.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
He's actually contributed to the course where these students come over from the US for a semester in the UK, and then he actually lectures them on management.
I need to sign up for
you
this.
actually there's actually a video, there's a documentary about it.
Yeah.
On YouTube, it's quite freely available. It's about 20 minutes long to half an hour long. If you have time and you've involved not only management or football, if you're running a business, a small business, you're working in a corporate company, you're running an NGO or running a school, give that video a go. You'd understand how this man understood people, and that is why he was so successful. Yeah. So that would be my team.
So I think that caps off.
For that team, I tell everyone else, bring your Virgil van Dijk and bring your Eric Haaland, and you see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a brilliant team, and I think that caps off this segment. So, really amazing team, and I think it's always good to have different people's perspective, different fans' perspective.
Brilliant,
And you heard it from the horse's mouth, right? So it's M.Shaahid's 11. Just a quick run through. The Great Dane in the back, Gary Neville, Nemanja Vidic, Jaap Stam, Dennis Irwin makes up your back four. As we go into midfield, Cristiano Ronaldo and George Best taking your wings. In the center, you've got Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, and they feeding into Eric Cantona, who then plays just behind a certain Wayne Rooney. And all of this coached by the great man himself, Sir Alex Ferguson.
Wow.
So
it was wonderful.
Brilliant team. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you think M.Shaahid Abdool, maybe missed out somebody, let us know. But yeah, thank you, Shaahid. That's an amazing team, and I think could go toe to toe with Pep Guardiola's 11, with Jurgen Klopp's 11. I think this will be really, really amazing. Abdul, if you want to take us out.
Wow, guys, thank you so much, M.Shaahid Abdool. It was amazing. What a solid team. Guys, please do not forget to like, share, comment, hit that bell notification. We really appreciate all your comments and all your feedback. And I think M.Shaahid Abdool on 3, 2, 1.
We are Gunning Old Trafford.